What's up, everybody? We're back with According to Low Elo,
Yes, we are.
and we had a pretty good idea that a friend suggested to us that we could look into some champions, some specific champions that we would think would need a little help in this day and age, season 11. Um,
Yeah, a lot,
s-
maybe a lot of help.
so we narrowed down this list to we wanted to do one champion per lane per role, and couple where they kind of overlap. So we might talk about two, but we'll start right away. So we're looking at Singed.
Yeah, Singed is he had a place back in seasons 1 through 4, or even 5, and I feel like since then, and they've tried to update him when they brought in the grounding on the W, which is I think really great, the mega adhesive ground, much like the miasma from Cass. But he just he's a non-combative champion. Like he is not going to sit here and auto attack you. Um, he is actually a good team fighter because that fling is just ridiculous. But to be able to pilot him correctly and use the strategies that actually work for him in this game at its current moment are not viable or feasible.
Just like I just feel like if how do I say it? So like the fling is great. Um, the grounding effect is great. I just feel like this champion. I mean, it's one. I don't think he does. He technically beat anybody in lane. Like
He does beat like Kale. He does get into like Riven and Volibear. He does get into champions that want to jump on him and just be in the way. But like I said, he's a really non-combative champion. Like, what does Fling do? It gets you the hell away from him. Like,
yeah,
he wants you to just run and chase after him and spend all your time running after him instead of actually doing uh, stuff in lane and whatnot.
I mean, to be fair, in Silver, people still don't understand the number one rule of League is to
Uh,
not chase
don't
Singed.
chase Singe.
I feel like his main like you're gonna proxy. You're pretty much just want to PVE, I guess. Like you don't want to.
He's
You'll.
very PVE. Perfect.
He's he's gonna be. I don't want to say counter engage. I don't think he's gonna wanna. I mean, I guess I play some Singe, but you never want to like be the one to start the fight. Like if someone runs up to you, you're gonna fling them and then run away. Like you're not
Yeah.
gonna. At least in lane, team fights may be a little different, but like
I also
it's
feel like there's not really an item. I mean, everyone goes Riftmaker and everyone goes Conqueror, but like those are ramping damage, and Conqueror doesn't start procking. You have to hit that auto attack. Otherwise, you could sit there and burn people for a
yeah.
long time, and you're not going to get the proc. You have to either fling or auto attack, or you got to get like two melee attacks off in order for Conqueror to really start working and actually heal him what he needs.
It's
Um, and Riftmaker is very much the same. You're not gonna really get the bonus true damage, so really all it's doing is just kind of ramping your damage up a little bit, but there's not really a good item. I mean, his best item is Rylai's, and then probably Demonic Embrace, and then you look at a either uh, Leandry's or Riftmaker because there's just nothing else really good for him.
I feel like when they changed the items, like did I can't what was Rylai's better last season? Was it always a 30% slow? I feel like it
Rylai's
was.
actually might have been worse because I think for AOE it was only 15%.
Did it really? I didn't.
I believe it was a change in how much it was for AOE skills versus single target skills.
I remember I mean last year Leandry's and Rylai's was just perfect because you get the double damage, you get the double dip on the burn because they're being slowed.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like Riftmaker. Like the healing is cool. The Omnivamp, 8% is not a lot.
I feel like Omnivamp sucks. I actually have a problem with that stat as is, but that's neither here nor there
Also,
for the purpose of this.
like the whole Ravenous Hunter. I mean, it used. I mean, I'm not complaining because healing is still so fucking broken in this game that like, because then Ravenous Hunter was better
Yep.
way back when, but now that's got nerfed into the gutter.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, maybe Landry's is better. I
Yeah. For damage, it's just I think Riftmaker's a little tankier. Leandries doesn't have that, which is why people go Rift over Leandries. But it's just he's just in a awkward spot. Not necessarily a rough spot because he definitely has sometimes where he can do really well, but you have to know how to pilot this champion. And I think right now, especially in the game, you're facing a lot of like a lot of Gwens and a lot of
a lot of
champions that are totally cool not fighting you. And he's totally cool not fighting you, and it doesn't help either one of the champions, and it makes the lane kind of a stalemate because you're not going to gank Singed like that, you know?
I think he's also just very one-dimensional. Like he does one thing.
Extremely,
He's just gonna run
extremely,
around you and that's it.
extremely. And that brings us to our next champion,
Oh
Timo.
yeah, for the other top laner. Yeah, team talk about one-dimensional. This little rat.
Yeah. Yeah, he throw a mushroom. He's split pusher. He's not really a great team fighter. He's got some team fight capability with the blind, but uh,
That's garbage.
for champion that's split pushing and is a AP marksman more or less, um, he's pretty garbage. Anytime someone picks Timo on my team, I just like want to dodge.
What's
Like I don't know how
crazy
else to put it.
is press the attack is his best keystone. Like it's
I see press the attack or
yeah,
grasp.
grasp. Like I feel like he's unless he gets ahead and he's like littering the whole entire map with shrooms, I think he's useless. He's not
Oh
gonna
yeah, if he's behind, he's definitely useless.
like what
Absolutely. He doesn't have
he's gonna
yeah.
blind one person and then all four other people are just gonna jump on him.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean the mushrooms are deceiving, but they're not like a Jack in the Box from Shaco. They don't have the same nature of like being able to run around and kind of kite you like that. Because once you run to one shroom, typically you're like, all right, I'm not gonna kill this guy, I'm just gonna run away. Where like a Shaco, because he can't have as many boxes, you might chase and Shaco wants that. Timo's like, oh, you ran into one shroom, and if you're a smart player, you just say, okay, I'm not even gonna chase this guy anymore. It's fruitless. There's no point. Let me just go back to clearing these minions or base and come back. And he's not oppressive, but you're also not going to gank him. He's just another PVE style
Yeah,
champion that's just annoying,
feel
but
like he's
doesn't
similar
do
to
anything.
Singed.
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't do anything come like late game. Like his best strategy is a backdoor because he's invisible.
And
Like
even that I'm not worried. Like
yeah,
if we like are 4v5ing and their Teemo's split pushing and we kill the four enemies, I'm not worried about a Teemo like gonna end the game. I don't
yeah,
like
yeah. I agree.
just so Leandries. I have
But
seen
what would
on
you?
hit Teemo. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, yeah. With Riftmaker and stuff like that. I was gonna say, what would you do to make this champion better or to make him more engaging? Because like I said, I don't think he's very engaging at all.
Let's give him a 8,000 unit dash
Oh,
and
okay, a dash
no,
that'll do it. When Riot needs to fix a champion, add a dash.
it is they. He has a. I mean, I like he has a decent win rate with press. I feel like for being is he a marksman? I don't even know what he's. Is he a mage? I guess he's a marksman, but I
He's a
just feel
mage
like he's
marksman.
like a keystone crisis where it there. I feel like there
Yeah,
could be a better keystone for him, but there
yeah.
isn't.
Comet sucks for him. It doesn't really. I
I
mean,
guess
a
Dark
little extra burst
Harvest.
of damage,
Dark Harvest is
maybe.
okay.
But then the rest of that tree is not good for him. Like everything in the yellow tree and everything in the green tree are better for him than what's in the red tree,
Yeah, the
right?
attack speed and
He doesn't have a dash. Cheap shot doesn't really. I mean,
the
you get a
blind.
little bit off cheap shot, but that's all movement impaired.
True.
That's it. It's just there's not enough in anything that makes him worth playing. But
Yeah.
anyways, I think we've got that where it's at. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions or ideas to make this champ better, or either
Honestly,
any of these champions better. I actually think it would be really interesting to hear. I think it'd be pretty cool, actually.
I think I remember a while ago Riot posted a like a ask Riot, and one of the questions about deleting champs. Just delete this champ. We don't need him. We don't need him. Just get rid of
We
him.
could put him in the put him with Yasuo. Delete that
Yeah,
champion
just
too.
okay. So we're gonna go move on the jungle now, and that's Talia. Now,
Yeah, here's a champion that just got absolutely gutted.
didn't work.
She still has an item, which is good. She's not marred by the item crisis, but she doesn't do anything in the current game state. I mean, her ulti that's I wouldn't call it cross map, but very very big.
But it
Great,
come
you can
with
get there.
with the ulti. It comes down to every champion has a dash now. They can just hop over the wall.
Exactly, it doesn't offer enough. It's not a wide enough wall, or it doesn't have like
Wow.
a no dash over. Like it doesn't. I don't know. She just needs something. And I think especially in low elo, people landing skill shots, especially ones like her W that are a push dependent, like you have to kind of guide it. I think it's even harder. Uh, Not that it's necessarily that difficult. I mean, obviously people can do it, but I think especially in low elo, people just don't know what to do with this champion. They look at it and go, "Yeah, I'm gonna go with something else that's a little more engaging and tanky, and I don't want to poke like that."
More something with more like reliable hard CC. Because that's if you're first of all, I guess the other thing we should say is we're specifically looking at silver and like North
Silver and
America.
gold,
Yeah,
yeah,
silver,
in North
gold.
America,
She's sitting in the jungle. She's sitting at a 25% win rate. That's insane.
yeah,
0.6% in this elo are picking her. So I'm assuming that's probably like one person.
yeah. That's a one trick pony right there. And
It,
being a one trick pony in silver or gold is rather sad because that means you're not that good at the champion. You play it a
there's
lot, but
there's such a low amount of data on this champion that it says Talia wins lane, which I'm assuming against jungle. There's nothing there, and then the only thing she loses against is Kayn. There's no other stats that this
yeah,
that Blitz can give me right now, and that's like, I mean, one, people aren't even playing her,
yep.
and I think Riot had like a crisis where they want to be a mid laner, and then I guess she was I remember her being really overpowered.
She was very very strong just like 2 years ago.
She could insta shove waves and then roam and do a lot of damage.
She's a very Niski style champion.
It's your boy, dude. You love that dude. Tell you that every
uh,
day.
but it's funny too though. Like you look at her like her counters, Kha'Zix who's just destroys her, and Hecarim. It's like yeah, those are two far more popular champions in this current state of the game than she is. And then you look at who she's strong against. You look at like Warwick, Evelyn, and Zac. No one's playing those except for maybe Warwick. And even right now, people are prioritizing other champions over Warwick. So she doesn't really have a place at the moment. She needs something, whether it's I don't know if it's damage or a little spike in the kit or what, but like right now she's got nothing going for her.
The her Q thing with the work ground is kind of a buzzkill too, since like instead of hurling what like is it 5 rocks and then on work ground it's only one?
One, but that one rock only costs
Yeah,
one mana,
but it's
so
not that much.
it's not that bad. I mean, I think it's pretty okay for wave clear if you're auto attacking and popping it on cooldown like a Cassiopeia E, but it's not very strong. But it does give you like an extra auto attack almost, you know.
But it's like I feel like maybe when you're on the work ground, maybe the cooldown should be reduced as well.
Yeah,
Because
something like
both
that.
ways it starts at 7 second cooldown. So I'm gonna hurl one rock and wait 7 seconds. Like if you're spamming that, so it's every or maybe lower the cooldown of the work ground. Make it disappear
Or that too.
faster.
Yeah,
Because I
the work ground's bad for 45 seconds. That's a lot. That's a
that's what I'm
lot of time.
saying. So it's 45 seconds, and if you're spamming it, you're gonna be wanting to move around, so you're gonna cover a large area with the work ground, and then you're gonna
Yep.
like you're gonna hurl one rock and then wait
Or
7 seconds.
maybe instead of decreasing the cooldown on the work ground, maybe they decrease the radius on which the ground is worked.
Make it smaller.
Yeah, so you can cast more, and then you have to sit there and. I mean, I think the work ground idea is very good. Um, it's a very positive idea, but maybe you just drop the radius of what it is, and then you can use it more, but you still have the same punishment of like, okay, once I've used it, I now have to wait for that to go away.
Yeah, it's. I like the champion. I
She's got
like
a good
she
aesthetic.
can
She's
she can.
definitely an earthbender. Like,
It's cool. Like you can cruise around next to terrain, which you know she's a roamer, makes a good jungler, but it's I don't know, man. Yeah,
yeah,
I'd say the work
it's
ground
tough.
needs some work.
That's yep. That's pretty much it. That and then obviously she's gonna be a higher skill cap champion, just on the basis of her WE combo, because that's a really strong combo. It does a massive amount of damage, but you have to be able to hit it. And as a low elo player, most people can't hit that. And part of it is because when you when you're watching these low elo players, their movements are so unpredictable because they're not grounded in any sort of logic. Why is he going that way? He's walking into the team to die instead of just taking the damage. Like, it can be quite confusing. But I think that's where we're at with the jungle. I think we're cool to move on to one of the bigger champions that I don't know why they just got nerfed, but
So
Aurelion Sol.
On Blitz, I'm looking at this for silver in NA. It has says no matchup data found for this champion. So I'm
Yeah, no one plays this champion.
there's a 0.7% pick rate. Uh,
Just to give you an idea, the the pick rate for mid Aurelion Soul out of 51 mid champions, so that's just the average mid champions, not any champion that you might take mid because you can. Um, 51 mid champions, he's ranked 43rd at 0.85% in pick rate. And that's not in low elo, that's just a global pick rate, which is sad.
yeah, it's this champion, man. I know we briefly talked about it because we were questioning why this champion needed a nerf. But again, I guess that's there's probably one dude in high elo that's just destroying for some reason with this champion. No one's gonna ban this champion. Like if you can,
According to OPGG, there's 3 people that are playing this champion, roughly about 700 games.
and is that
You have
all?
Ontario Steve, Sir A Soul, and an Afro Dragon.
Is that and then what rank are they? Can you view that?
That's a great question.
I'm
Let's
assuming this
see.
is all like high elo or like all
Yeah,
ranks.
Ontario Steve is master tier with 423 wins and 470 losses. Let's see. Sir Asol, which would be the one I would expect to be the best, is master tier with 1 LP with 459 wins. And if we look at an Afro Dragon, he is Diamond 1 at 40 LP with 500 wins. So, I mean, these are much higher elo people who know how to pilot this champion, but that still tells you that there's a very niche pool of players that uh, pick this thing. And I remember even when he came out, he was very underwhelming because we all wanted Ao Shin and we got A Soul, and he just was not. Just I feel like he didn't live up to the hype, and his kit is very. You have to really know how to play that kind of uh, champion, I think, and in the current state. Like, what do you pick? Night Harvester or Everfrost, maybe?
It's like yeah, it's I mean, Everfrost makes sense because you can stun, you can land the Q, and then you can land the
You can
R, and
stun an
then the
ulti,
W.
yeah.
I just think, especially in popular champions, there's just if he gets all in, he's screwed. There's nothing he can do. That's how you beat him is especially if Leona, a lot
Just
of
go ham
Leonas,
bananas on him.
yeah, there's a lot of like hard engage dive. Like he's shit out of luck
Assassins are really good. The Zeds and the Talons and
because you want
anybody
to
that can stop his
if
orbs
yeah if
too.
you can get inside his orbs, like he doesn't do anything.
I
It's
gotta say that W nerf that they gave him, where it's just like a quick 3 second or 3 round pass, so each one passes once. instead of just extending it indefinitely. I feel like that was like a not a good nerf for this champion. I feel like it drilled him further into the ground and further out of popularity.
Yeah, it's very
Talk,
odd.
talk about champions to remove from the game. You could probably safely do away with Asol. Great ideas, but he needs some real work.
Maybe, I guess maybe just bump his damage. I don't know, like
Yeah, he doesn't. That could be it, but I don't even remember what they just nerfed on him. But it was just like so out of the
I
blue.
think it was a cooldown on his Q. Was that it?
That might have been it. I don't remember. It was just like I felt like it was just so out of left field. Like, why nerf this champion? What does he offer?
It was a very maybe it's just someone at Riot that had a particular like hatred towards this champion and was like, "Fuck the one dude that's playing this."
Especially in low elo, he's kind of like a Talia,
I'll,
just not good.
if I see an Asol on the enemy team, I'm like, okay, this is probably gonna be a free win, unless
But
they
I could be
have.
kind of scared sometimes. Sometimes you see someone pick it, you're like, why is this person picking that champion? Oh my god, they must be great at him.
And then you look at their account and they have like 4 million games, but then they're only bronze one. So you're like, wait, this is a free
Or
win.
they've, or it's a Smurf account, and you're like, wait, they're getting a free win right now.
Dumbasses left Asol open. Haha. Like,
Yeah, yeah, right,
all right.
right,
And
right.
then the other thing we'll briefly talk about, because we mentioned the other one, was Cassiopeia, and the whole
Oh
like
yeah, Cass.
the whole boots issue, man. Like,
That's so.
what's her? Let's see. Hold on.
That's just so lame. I don't
I
know.
can't see it on here. Can you look? What's the for her passive? What's the scaling like? What does it start with? Can you view that?
Let's see.
Oh, here, I can look at it
Yeah,
right
I
now.
should be able to.
Never mind. It just says she gets.
Nope, just per level. It just doesn't say
I just wanted
exactly,
to
but
see what
not
she
for just
max
boost
out
items.
at. Um,
Yeah, I would assume it maxes out at the same as what T2 boots max out at, like probably was it 45 movement speed, I think,
that
is the
sucks.
average.
That
Maybe
sucks.
it's a little bit more at level 18, but like I would
That's
think
such a long.
yeah, I would think like mid game she would probably be pretty on par, maybe a little bit slower because she's a snake and snakes should thematically be slower.
I guess
But
that's what. I mean, phase rush can make up for that a little bit.
yeah, I think you just build Conqueror because you're just spamming E anyways. I think you just build Conqueror on her.
I think it'll depend. Like if you're against champions that are just gonna like zoom at you, I think you need the movement speed just to get away. So you can also like sync
You don't need
that.
movement speed. You just turn around and press R.
Remember we're talking about that. It's very telegraphed.
It is
People,
telegraphed
it's
though.
like there's like a brief second where she inhales and then screams and then the ult goes off. And
Yeah.
it's we don't have to spend too much time on this because we already mentioned this, but I think maybe bump the movement speed per level that she gets from her
You
passive.
you know the other thing that I just thought about too that she doesn't get from her passive that would actually benefit her with a pair of boots is
The magic pen.
she can't even build Sork boots for
It's
penetration,
true.
and that's
It's a
18
lot.
pen, I think.
It's a
That's a
lot.
lot for a champion
Especially
that's
like early game. Like if there's champions that
yeah,
just rush that and they can just destroy.
yeah,
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
yeah. She misses out on the extra benefits of the boots. She's just getting like paper bags with the alacrity bonus from seasons like 3 and 4. But
Sad. It's sad, dude. All right.
it is. It says here in mid lane across the globe, she's in a pretty good place. But um, low elo,
I think that just it just comes down to there's better champions.
yep,
There's
yep,
better champions that do the same, if not more DPS, and just offer more.
agreed, agreed.
So, well, next we'll move down to AD, and we had two, but the main one I want to talk about was Sivir.
Yeah,
Sivir.
Sivir is undergoing item crisis. It's
Keystone Crisis
Duskblade,
too, because yeah,
a
why
Keystone Crisis, but
when I
yeah,
don't
it's
remember,
Duskblade and Dark Harvest.
I
Like,
don't know
why?
why when someone like I just
Hey, here's a
remember
champion that we designed to shove lane so ridiculous and just auto attack at a ridiculous pace. and be able to bounce their boomerangs around. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make this champion use a Q to be her main source of anything, and we're gonna let her build Dustblade and Dark Harvest to pop people. It's like, no, that's not what this champion is. This champion's supposed to be played the way it's designed, at least by the skills that she has. This champion should be played a little bit more like a Twitch, where you're going in just auto attacking like
Yeah,
crazy,
you're a
doing crazy amounts of
DPS
AOE
monster.
DPS. Yeah, but you're building Dustblade, which is a single target damage item, and you're building Dark Harvest. Like that doesn't even make sense.
So, okay, the other question I had is, so her W, the boomer or the ricochet, I know it says if the first auto crits, all the other ones crit. Does that apply on hit effects? So, like, say
Um,
if you built
I think
Kraken
it
Slayer,
does.
if you built
I
Kraken
think it.
Slayer, also will that like will that true damage proc on Kraken Slayer? Will that proc all three boomerangs?
That's a good question. I don't actually know.
I don't play this champion. I don't want to play this champion. It's
I know it deals reduced damage. So I wouldn't be surprised if it worked like a Runon's. Um, but that's a good question. I don't know.
so weird. It's
Yeah, she's in a weird spot, and it is weird because she is now kind of a lane bully. Like she plays well into champions like Jin and stuff like that. But like the champions that she should be good against, she's not that good against. She should be able to like out push a lot of champions. Like she plays good into Ezreal too, just because she can just out wave clear him and he's just sitting there doing nothing. And Ezreal's really strong right now, but no one's picking Sivir. They're picking other champions because they do that stuff better.
like the spell shield is cool, but like it's
Spell Shield's like
20
that's like key to her kit.
22-second cooldown, and when every champion in the game now, support wise too, have so much crowd control. Like, okay, so like you're laning against Jin. Cool, you're gonna spell shield the W, but then the enemy Leona is gonna zoom in, EQ R, and you're not
All
moving
right,
for
well,
4 years.
Leona was built to destroy Spell Shield and say the hell with that. Unless you're Morgana, Leona's just gonna wreck your spell shield in all of 2 seconds and still stun you 3 times.
Maybe let's see. I mean, the few times I think recently we've seen Sivir in pro play, I have seen lethal tempo, so I'm like, okay. But I
See,
think
that
it,
one makes sense.
it might come down to though, because it's kind of like Varus. Varus builds Hail of Blades, but you're building lethality. You're not building DPS. You're you're burst. You're doing burst damage.
But the thing with Varus though is he's a caster and a marksman, so like it just depends how you want to play him. You could totally play Varus with something like press the attack or even lethal tempo,
I don't think it'd be. It's not
and
good
it's
enough
still
though.
viable. But at the current state of the game, you're right, it's not good enough. But when they tweak it and they tweak little things with Varus, just tiny little things with like how much on hit he does, he becomes back to a marksman and not a caster. Whereas you don't get that same behavior with Sivir.
Yeah, I think
She needs just a little bit of help. Just in
it's just items.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's item crisis. Again, that's the big thing when they change all the items, which don't get me wrong, I do like the mythic item change. At first I was like, this is stupid, but I actually thoroughly like it. I do think it's weird when there's champions that do finish other items first, like Nashor's Tooth. Why is Nashor's Tooth coming before your mythic item? That tells me that that item is either too strong or your mythic is too weak. Um, but there's only a few champions who build stuff like that first. And Manamune is one of those ones that's not a mythic that gets built usually before the mythic does because of what it offers in terms of sustain,
That item
which
is.
is fine. But I feel like you're taking a risk with Nashor's Tooth. I don't feel like you're taking a risk because you get a good amount of damage. With Manamune, I feel like you're taking a little bit of a risk of finishing it first because you're getting some straight up damage and a little bit of sustain, but you're not gonna get the same boost as you would from like a Duskblade first or a
Also,
Kraken Slayer.
speaking of Manamune, I feel like okay for a
That item's too strong
non-mythic.
right now.
You think so? I was gonna disagree. I think it's 2,900 gold. I think that's very expensive for a
It
non.
is.
And then The build path is garbage, dude.
It
Tier
is, but I feel like there's like 8 to 10 champions who build that item, which is what tells me that's kind of strong. Like champions that the weird thing about this item is I feel like it actually brings champions further into the late game that would otherwise fall off sooner, like a Jace. The second Jace started building Manamune, that champion became a way more popular champion because it's like, oh, here's a champion that can actually play late game. He's an early game champion, but he's not useless late game anymore because he's got this item that's been buffing his AD the entire game, which carries him through some of his power drops. You know,
I wonder. I'm just trying to think of. I wonder what like her R is cool. I like the idea of like a boost for her team. I wonder
that's a really good one.
if like they could introduce like a small thing like I don't know, maybe it'd be too broken, but like on kills and assists by Sivir it extends the duration of on the hunt. So you can just like listen, on the hunt, like you're on the hunt. Imagine just fucking just chasing down the enemy team. Like boom, reset, boom, keep going. Like I think that'd be a fucking sick ass.
Well, you know what's in her R that I think a lot of people forget about is that when it's not on cooldown,
It's the
I believe it's
W,
only when it's
right?
not on cooldown, the W gets a lot
It's
more
passively.
attack
It
speed.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I think when it's on cooldown, you don't get that. I believe,
When it's on wait, no, I don't think so.
or maybe they got rid of that part. Let me see here. Oh, maybe they did. Okay, it just says well, Ricochet. Okay, it used to be, and I haven't been a Sivir player in a very long time because I suck at her.
It's
But I feel
still
like it used to be when we first started playing that when your ulti was on cooldown, you didn't get the
passive.
attack speed boost. Yeah, but it sucks though because you're only getting it on when the W is active, so that's 3 shots.
Though I believe it's a very low cooldown. 6 seconds? Wow. Okay, never mind.
It costs a lot of mana.
75.
It costs a lot. She doesn't have a very big mana pool. It costs a lot of mana, so that's why she builds mana me. And don't get me wrong, like that makes sense.
Maybe
But
that's
it's
the
like,
crisis. Maybe she needs to have her abilities mana cost lowered. Let's see.
yeah, and then maybe push her into something else.
Boomerang Blade at
I still
max
think
is 110 mana. Wow.
I still think that like look, you're giving this champion like attack speed steroids, but then you're not pushing her into item builds that use attack speed.
Maybe that's just
Unlike Tristana,
the items. Maybe these
they
like
just don't fit for her.
assassin
Yeah,
lethality items are just I don't want to say better. Maybe they're better. They just offer raw damage, whereas like crit is like okay, you gotta take a chance. Like oh, am I gonna crit? Maybe if I have
yeah.
20% crit, but Duskblade with lethality, that's just raw fucking damage, and I feel like that's gonna be a lot better
Manamune
early game.
Dustblade Collector. Like, all right.
Um, and then we were also gonna just briefly talk about Caitlyn. We mentioned that the other day. I think it's just I think Caitlyn just takes way too long to scale.
in the in the current state of the game, yeah,
When
she needs
games
that
end at
third
25
item.
minutes, yeah, if you, I don't think,
Yep.
I think you're just useless if you until you hit 3 items.
Here's also like the only champion that still uses Storm Razor.
Yeah, I almost forget about that item, dude. That's
Yeah,
weird.
that item's hot garbage. No one uses it. I think it's just Caitlyn that uses it.
Interesting.
And it's just for that little bit of a slow and a little bit of a extra pop. But like, you might as well just go RFC instead. They're all energized, aren't they?
I don't. Well, the rapid fire doesn't do the slow.
But I mean, I think you share a cooldown on energize, right? Because remember, it was RFC and
Static Shiv.
yeah, Shiv. They both had the energized passive, and now Storm Razor has the energized passive. So I think you share the same cooldown. So it's like, why? Caitlyn already builds RFC because it's a good item for her to have. It increase her range,
I mean,
So
to
why
be,
add Storm Razor?
I think they work together because
Do they?
there's no more unique
Instead of unique
passives.
passive.
So I think they
Oh,
still
you know
work.
what? You might be right.
It
You might be right. I
also
forget
because it
about that.
also charges up like with fleet
Footwork.
foot. Yeah.
Also, like the only champion that uses that keystone.
But no, yeah, it's like you want
But even
Infinity.
then, yeah,
You
people are
want
still going fucking Dark Harvest on this champion too. And yeah, you're right. You're looking at like crit chance. Like you said, taking a chance on a critical, or just go raw damage and blow people up.
yeah, it's like you want Infinity Edge on Caitlyn, but there's 4 items, well, 3 and then boots that you want to get, like, because you need the 60% to get the Infinity Edge passive.
What's the crazy thing too is like IE is just
It's
a garbage
garbage.
item
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
The fact that
And
it
like it's
went
a
from
third, fourth item, and for her, like you said, with the boots, everything, it's like no, that's late game, and most games aren't allowing you to get that far. Now, if you do get that far, Caitlin's gonna be a powerhouse, but
yeah, that's at
most
40 minutes.
games,
The game's over by
yeah,
then.
yeah, most games she ain't getting there.
She's also no. She has her 90 caliber net, but that's a terrible escape tool,
Yeah,
and you're
that's why
just
I
gonna
think
get blown
you
up.
build Gale Force. There's nothing else to build except for Gale Force because just
And
an extra dash where she needs it.
yeah, yeah, it's yeah. So let's maybe
Go down to the support role.
yeah, we'll move to support. This is our last one.
The last one, support role, and
Maybe it's not just.
realistically,
It's more about the champion than the role. I don't know. It's
yeah, I would say it's more the champion. Looking at the support role, this was a hard one to pick a champion from because I feel like they all have their niche uses. Like your enchanters are pretty good right now with the Moonstone and the Shurelias. Your damage carries are still pretty solid because a lot of them just build Leandries, which is a super expensive item. But champions like Zyra, they're just gonna blow you up anyways. Like, okay, I'm gonna get like 2 kills in lane, and then I'm gonna go buy this item really quickly, and now I'm gonna make your life a living hell. This champion that we're looking at is Swain, and part of it is because he has an identity crisis. He
so
was reworked to be a mid or top, like a solo laner, so whether mid or top, kind of like Vladimir, and he finds himself in the bot lane more often than not.
I think it was the change to his W. Like they made that ability, just the range on it, more like utility. So it's like
Yep,
it's like, oh, here you go. You can be a support now, and you could just check
poke from afar.
literally any. Yeah, you could check anywhere. You could poke. You could just. I mean,
And then if you hit somebody, you get free tank stat or free health, like free tank stats right there. Like, all right.
I,
is
I really like this champion too.
I this champion I think is fun, but like he's support, but not really. He's actually I would probably say he's a bot laner.
Yeah,
But
maybe he
you
for
pair
sure
him with a
needs.
support that like Senna, like Swain Senna is a really good combo, and I feel like without Senna, it's useless. Like you got to play with someone who can starve themselves, and really you're looking at Senna.
He needs the gold. Like I.
He really needs the gold
Plus,
with
like
the expensive Leandries and Zonias and
I think
whether
he
demonic or
needs.
Morellos. Like, ugh.
Like you're talking about Zyra. I feel like if like a Zyra and a Swain, both with Leandries, maybe both level 6. I feel like the Zyra is gonna do more work.
Oh, she's definitely gonna blow you up before Swain even gets to ulti. She's got way more early utility.
He has.
Difference is Swain is a later game carry than Zyra is. Zyra's she'll
Yeah,
do some
sure.
damage, but she's gonna go in and die and try to pump out as much damage as she can. Where Swain's gonna try to go in on people, but you don't start a fight with a Swain ulti.
For real.
You start a fight with the E or whatever. You start a fight on the back of somebody else, stunning and then pulling them in. He's just a very interesting champion, and like you said, his build's expensive.
He this is a champion that needs like 2 items at least to come online.
Yeah, he definitely needs the Leandries. He absolutely needs the Zonias. Those are most important. And then from there is when you start looking at situational. But without those 2 items, like it's kind of even scary to go in with an ulti because you have no defense, no protection. Leandry doesn't give the same amount of health that it gave. Actually, doesn't give any health. Where before it gave you health, so it was give you a little bit more. What I think it gave you 300 or 400 health
Yeah,
before they changed it.
it's very squishy now.
Yeah, he's very squishy, so you can't just go in. So it's
And even with
weird.
the his passive, you get what 5? Is it 5 HP per stack?
Yeah, but you have to get the soul fragment. So you either have to kill someone or land or pull them
Yank them.
back or land a W.
I just 5 HP. I
And
don't think is enough.
by the
Maybe
end of the game, you're getting a little bit more than a ruby crystal out of it, depending on how well your team's doing. And I feel like I'm with you. It's not enough to counteract. Like maybe he needs to go to 8 HP or something.
The only thing was like I feel like changing that by like
That's something,
one.
and like one or two, I think would help push him where we want him to go.
Just again, it's I just feel like there's so many champions that could just destroy him too. I mean, I guess to be fair, like champions like an all in him. I don't know if you really want to all in that champion,
No,
especially like with ulti. Like he gains HP, he gets life drain. Like
yeah, he's just kind of a mess. He just needs a little bit of help. But like I said, you see him in a support role, and he's actually really the bot laner.
he should,
That's where it's
yeah,
like
he
it's an
should
identity
be.
crisis.
He needs to be the one farming. He needs to be the one, like, yeah, getting the gold. Cause
Yeah, he just doesn't play. He doesn't play the lanes that he was designed to play, and it's strange.
very strange.
And it seems like Riot has no intention of fixing it, or maybe editing his kit so he could either, if they want him to be support or they think he's a good support, then to make him an actual support pick, or if they want him to be a solo laner, make him a solo laner. They just don't give any of that to him.
I think he'd be pretty good mid lane with Everfrost.
Everfrost, and he would probably have to go. He's so mana intensive. He'd have to go. What's it called?
Tier.
Yeah, he'd have to go tier to archangels
I don't
because
even
it's so
speak.
mana intensive
I
in
was gonna
terms of wave
say
clear.
I was talking about Manamune build path is garbage. The fucking Archangel or the staff build
Yeah.
is fucking terrible. It's a
Yep.
tier, a needlessly large rod, and I think it's an amp tone
Yeah.
or like that's so
It's what it is it's the combined cost that sucks because
true.
the rod isn't so bad, although it's expensive. It's not a blasting wand, but like the combined cost once you have them, I think is still like 1,300 or something like that. It's like I have all the base items and I need to build, a seekers, and now it's like I just am not able to get enough gold to push to finish an item. And that's a lot of times where I feel like he gets stuck.
So I think we can agree he needs to be the carry. He needs to be the main farming.
He's
He
got to be
needs
the
to be.
carry, yeah.
I don't want to say 80, but he needs to be the bot laner and not the support. But I feel like I think he's better equipped for that instead of mid because I feel like he needs help getting, like, I think he needs someone sitting next to him.
Yeah, he needs a constant jungle intervention, but he needs hard CC on the team, 100%.
All right, I think that's it.
I think that's it for now.
That was, I
I mean,
know.
obviously, as the next patch comes out, and it may be a while till we get another one of these nailed down, just because you don't know really what some of the champions look like until a couple of weeks after some of these patches too. Sometimes things round out or strategies round out, or there's another patch that's released with like a small buff to an item that inadvertently buffs something else by nerfing the crap out of another champion or whatever. So it's a possibility that we don't really fully know what we're looking at for another one of these for a month or two.
Yeah, and we're also thinking of doing, like, this was the first idea we were thinking of other than doing a patch rundown. So we're trying to brainstorm and come up with ideas and just other like content things to put out. And um, if anybody has suggestions, reach out to us. Um, I mean, along with just the audio, I put these videos on my YouTube, which is youtube.com/ the ACDC dude 99. I'll like link it, put links, I think, on Anchor or wherever else we put them. Um, and, maybe we can do actual video content too of games and playing. Y'all can really see how bad we are. uh,
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
I think that's gonna do it.
Um,
So,
but yeah, this was a very thought provoking episode. It definitely, I felt like I had to put more thought into this than the patch rundown. Um, it was a little more analytical. So hopefully, you guys take the time and enjoy it, and leave us some feedback. Obviously, kind words are far more appreciated than negative words, but I mean, it is what it is. You got to say what you got to say.
all right, we'll catch you next time. See you later, guys.
Thanks. Later.